break across each half. There's a couple of players. Segre in the tunnel cam. Old friends, foes tonight. Sydney unbeaten in their last 8 against Perth. So it's a big task. A lot of momentum behind this Perth team. And a lot to like about what we've seen from them in recent fixtures. Shed showing up in good numbers. And great to see the Perth locals getting behind their home team. Win probability, though, heavily favours the visiting side in the Sky Blues. And the head-to-head history, given that, is unsurprising. Sydney dominant in this fixture. We've got to go back a while since Perth beat Sydney. Early 2022. But their fortunes perhaps swinging in a different direction in recent weeks. Plenty of storylines unfolding. Perth Glory, let's have a look at the home side. They make 2 changes in the pursuit of 4 consecutive wins. Nick Pennington comes in for his first start of the season, replacing last week's goal scorer Seb Despotovsky, who is out of the squad with a calf strain, and Josh Risdon comes in as a direct replacement for the suspended Trent Ostler. A few changes on the bench as well. Sam Sutton returns for the first time this season. Brandon O'Neill and Ariane Suleimani return as options on the Pine as well. Up against his former side tonight, Jaden Kucharski starts for the 6th time this season. From the Sydney FC youth ranks up into the senior team, where he played over 70 games across all competition in the Sky Blue, now facing a side of familiar faces. 23 years old, and surely a point to prove for Kucharski. But Ufuk Talay has made the fewest changes to his starting 11 across the league, and that consistency has paid dividends. But tonight it's a forced change and a Sydney FC side without Joe Lolly. The Englishman sidelined for at least a week with a hamstring strain, so Abel Wallity comes in for his first start of the season. He's appeared off the bench in all 7 matches prior. Great opportunity for the 21-year-old. Former Western United man with a real chance to make his mark this evening, yet to score for Sydney FC. But with a few more minutes available and a start tonight, these are big moments for the striker. Big shoes to fill, of course, but a really great opportunity for Wallity. Ufuk Talay named Coach of the Month for his side's start to the season. One of the best attacks in the league. At the other end of things, Adam Griffiths has confirmed he is in negotiations to become Perth Glory's full-time coach, but does not yet have an exact timeline for signing the dotted line. But when that does happen, he'll become the 5th Glory coach in 5 years. Lachlan Keever's in charge in the middle tonight. VAR room, Daniel Elder, Jonathan Barrero keeping a close eye on things from the booth there.
All right, it's our job to bring the energy. Seconds away. Let's be loud tonight. Give it up for your
Yuli's done a sound job in midfield, as has Will Freeney. But all systems go at HBF Park for this round 8 meeting between Perth Glory and Sydney FC. It's hot, conditions are stifling, but recent form from these 2 teams has been red hot itself. Perth looking to get things underway quickly, but Eric Partaloo, can Perth get it done for a 4th time in a row, or will Sydney continue? As we hold that thought for just a moment, a little flashpoint forward. Baruccio maintaining his spot in the side. Good start from Sydney. That pass a little heavy as Perth just try and get their foot on the ball, absorbing a little bit of pressure. And Eric, I'll come back to you again. Can Sydney FC maintain their good start to the season?
Yeah, good evening, Grace. It's a great question, and I think part of that's answered with the start we've seen. And they mean business tonight. They want to reclaim that top spot in the Isuzu UTE A-League ladder. And they'll be coming here tonight without Joe Lolly, of course. And that's going to be the biggest question mark tonight. How do they do it without him? They've lost Paul Ocon as well. And this is where you start to call upon your squad. But for Perth Glory, they've had a great run, haven't they? You know, they've not been inside the 6 after 8 rounds of play since the 2020-21 season. And this man has somehow pulled a rabbit out of a hat so far. So it's going to be a fascinating game.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. And Griffiths, as mentioned, expected to become the full-time head coach at Perth. Still some I's being dotted, some T's being crossed to get that one over the line. But it has been somewhat of a revolving door in that head coach position. Griffiths to become the 5th in 5 seasons for the Glory.
Well, the benchmark has been set now. But for tonight's game against Sydney FC, that's going to have to be a little bit higher, the bar, because we know what sort of side they've been this season. But, you know, I think for Perth Glory, just to sort of sit there and wait and reassess things is a smart idea, but you can't wait too much longer, can you? Because the fans expect a little bit more solidarity, a bit more assurance in who's going to take the job and who's going to take this team forward.
Well, they're certainly enjoying the last few, and understandably so. Hoping a couple of minutes. Heavy touches affording Sydney a bit much. Across is Brian Kaltak, whose form in recent weeks has really lifted after a bit of a difficult opening few games for Glory. He's come good. It's Grant. Reece Ewley holding down the midfield for Sydney FC. Of course, the absence of Paul Ocon-Engsler really missed in the middle of midfield for the Sky Blues. That and Joe Lolly, 2 big outs for Sydney FC. Quality skipped through one. Pennington could take a pinch. That ball trying to slip through Taggart. Tisserand comfortable to deal with. Toure has a bit of space to exploit. Kispe will turn out and settle things. Of course, it's been 3 in a row for Perth. Last weekend, tidy 1-0 result was enough to get it over Western Sydney Wanderers. And for the Sky Blues, they come in off the back of a win against Central Coast Mariners as well. Just a little stumble the week before in the Sydney Derby, but Sydney FC do have great depth in their squad.
Yeah, they certainly do. And it's going to be very interesting tonight to see again Reece Ewley, as you've already mentioned, Grace, in that number 6 role, having to sit in there and allow the 2 Qs in front of him, Quintal, Kispe, to get forward. And you can see Perth already sitting off.
Well, great move from the Sky Blues. Centering ball is into a dangerous area as well, and it's a dream start for Abel Wallati in his first start for Sydney FC inside 5 minutes. They were threatening, they looked dangerous, and exactly where a striker should be. Sydney FC, what a start that is.
Well, they applied the pressure early on, and it's paid off big time. Perth Glory on the Harvey Norman replay. You can just see that little run forward. Both wingers tonight are expected to get forward, and it's great movement from Al Hassan Toure. And the ball again from Piero Kispe was really intelligent and important. They keep backing off here, Perth. And the man who's come in to replace Joe Lolly with his injury, he did not take long to answer the question, is he up for tonight? You bet he is. The away side take the lead.
Well, he could not have asked for a better start. Big shoes to fill in Joe Lolly. But that takes the pressure off instantly. Maybe a response from the home side. It's Grant, a goal scorer. They'll feel buoyed by that early positivity, and as he should. 8th appearance for the season, but this his very first start. All other moments have been off the bench. The 21-year-old, bit of defending to do here for Sydney. Tisserand Cooley leaves that one.
Well, you can see that link between Tom Lawrence and Adam Targett. It's a little bit rusty from the start tonight, but that's the key ingredient for Perth Glory now, those two up front. Adam Targett has that foil, someone to shadow himself, because he's always got the attention on him, and having someone like Lawrence, he can go and dribble and make plays. It's going to allow Adam Targett to get into more dangerous positions.
Tom Lawrence really coming into his own in recent weeks. That's good defensive work shown by Kucharski against his former side. Big night for the number 9 for Perth Glory. Always a little bit of heat coming up against your former teammates. Now, what can Perth do to get themselves back in this? What kind of early response? Josh Risdon, a direct replacement for the suspended Trent Osler, got a red card last week against Western Sydney Wanderers. That was in the 40th minute. The team held on for the remainder of the game. So Osler sits out a week, Risdon back in. Just his 5th start of the campaign. Josh Risdon. Sydney happy to sit in. It's Pennington, nice pass. Finds Lawrence. Innovation as well by Targett. Lawrence now. Here's Kucharski. Has a bit of time, a deflection. Awkward, off the crossbar. Tisserand heads away. Still alive with Kucharski. Perth's strike doesn't quite have the purchase on Tom Lawrence's boot.
Well, it looks as though that Devonish Mears has gone down with something, but it was all about this opportunity just there. And nobody from Sydney FC, apart from Tisserand, was alert to it. And luckily, this one here doesn't get on target, because when Tom Lawrence is on the edge of the box, you know that something's going to happen. It was an almost opportunity for the Perth Glory. There's a bit of treatment going on here for Devonish Mears. You can see it's a pre-existing injury. That's a groin strap, so he's obviously got a groin strain of some sort, and that just restricts the movement. But what it will stop him from doing, Grace, is probably taking goal kicks and trying to hit things long.
Well, definitely keep an eye on that one, Harrison Devonish Mears. Played all minutes for Sydney FC this season. Gus Hoofsloot on the bench, the backup goalkeeper for the Sky Blues. But this is interesting, looks okay to take the long goal kick. First test looks pretty good off the boot. Header from Pennington. Drops to the midfield. Quality glances on. Now Wootton. Anticipated well by Ryan Grant. The first 10 minutes have been started in a real flurry. Exactly how Sydney would have wanted to begin. Hot conditions, tough conditions to begin. An early goal important for the Sky Blues. Quintal battling in midfield. This will be a good midfield tussle as it develops. All the way back with goalkeeper Matt Sutton.
The forward pressure from Sydney FC has been first class in the first 10 or 11 minutes or so, and that is the key. If you're playing against a team like Perth Glory, you're 1-0 up, don't sit off. Yes, you're away from home, and you might have that inside of you to think about relaxing or taking a foot off the pedal. No, just keep going. And it starts with players like Ryan Grant and Ben Garuccio going and pressing high, and that sets the tempo for the rest of the team.
That was coolly done by Sydney. Reece Ewley on the ball here, just slipping into a pocket of space and able to play forward. Now Wallity feeling confident with the ball at his feet. That one blocked.
It's good to see as well that Ufuk Talay hasn't changed the system. It could have quite easily gone a different way tonight, but he said, okay, Wallity, you're a very similar type of player. You're an outlet. Yes, you're not going to run in behind, but you're going to be able to do tricks and, you know, go and dribble. And what that does is allow the rest of the team to move up a little bit higher as well. He doesn't delay. He actually helps the team move forward.
It pinches the pressure here from Perth. Sydney play through so far fairly comfortably. Nice turn on the ball from Kispe. Toure's pass just over the line, so Perth throw. Ben Garuccio, second start this evening, had a good performance last week. Solid in the left fullback position. Of course, Joel King on the bench. At the moment, Garuccio the preferred option. Freeney can face forward. Pennington runs into a little bit of trouble. Wallity picks up possession. Now Quintal, who was excellent last week as well. Wallity again. Back with Quintal, has a little glance forward for the cross. Grant and Wallity. Just a return in kind to Ryan Grant. Lawrence has dropped deep. Does really well on the ball, is fouled.
Magic footwork there from Tom Lawrence, but you can see the frustration because they're having to sit so far in their own half and defend. Taggart, Lawrence going back and trying to stop the Sydney FC side from getting forward, but nobody in front making that run. That's why he had to take those extra touches. He didn't want to do that in the middle of the park.
Sydney haven't had a great deal of success coming across to Perth in recent fixtures. The last three they've travelled west have ended in draws. It's probably left good communication at the back. That said, the head-to-head record on this fixture strongly in the favour of the Sky Blues. Nice little play, with the exception of that touch. Gifts possession back to Toure. Has the overlapping run of Garuccio, awards it. Lovely left foot Garuccio has. Searching ball, struck really well in the middle. Second chance. Campuzano coming through. Quintal involved. Really good look for Sydney.
This is the combination. I think a lot of Sydney FC fans are licking their lips about Garuccio getting passing. Quintal, who started really strongly. I'm just wondering if Campuzano would have just left this one for his teammate to volley in from there. Didn't get the shout, and Perth Glory get away with it.
Well, another great chance for the visiting team. Just singing the praises of Ben Garuccio. Early look forward, and Devonish Mears looks to be fine on that right quad or groin. Well off his line, out to clear well.
I think with Ben Garuccio, it was a signing that they weren't expecting, obviously. It's just an added bonus having him in there. Joel King was doing so well playing there, and now it's almost like we have two options. And that's a great thing for a team that's looking like they want to be winning silverware this year. They've got to have those options.
Of course, a scattering of Western United players in tonight's fixture. Garuccio, just one of them. Sutton, Shamoon, Bozanovsky, just to name a few. Garuccio has certainly looked comfortable in that left full-back position. So 15 minutes have passed. An early goal, nice finish in the 5th minute from Agawality. But some good chances at either end. Sydney with the more meaningful so far, but early doors. Just the one shot at goal for the home side, 4 to the Sky Blues.
It's been a while since we've heard the Glory fans this loud, Grace. That's really good to see and hear.
That's great. The Perth faithful, the Shed, been really pleased with the last few weeks. 3 games, 3 wins in a row for this Perth Glory team. They want to find a way back into this one. Of course, Perth with a few injury concerns of their own. Despotowski, a little calf strain. Great strength shown by Al-Hassan Toure. What does the delivery look like? And, well, it's experienced defending. Charbel Shamoun looks really comfortable, but has turned that out for a Sky Blues corner.
It's been a top-level start from Al-Hassan Toure, the Socceroo, and the delivery, the final product, even better. Not easy to do that on the run, getting forward with pace. We've had such a strong start. He knows tonight he's got to stand up. No Joe Lolly in the side. Wallity, a different option, coming inside and playing with people in there. But he is the out-and-out winger tonight, and he's got to go and attack that space, particularly against Josh Riston.
Sydney have been good from corners this season. In fact, best in the league. They'd love to add a second. In the opening 20 minutes, whipped in delivery, a header up and under, doesn't trouble Matt Sutton.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tisserand there seemed to be the first player up to win that header. Kispe's just got that beautiful dipping delivery, and almost a bit of a mismatch there. Tisserand getting up.
Tisserand, Pennington obviously given the duties to stay close. The 32-year-old defender, Marcel Tisserand. What an inclusion he has been to Ufuk Taleh's side. The ball over the top and a little grab of the arm, Kucharski. Finishes nonetheless, but the whistle had already been blown.
This is what you get when you have a Ben Garuccio in your side. It's identification when your back line gets caught out. He's not a left back thinking he's staying there. He's come all the way across the middle of the pitch to do his job. It's fantastic defending.
He had to be there, Kucharski ready to pounce. Just watch that Perth attacking line, just picking the point to press. If Sydney can find a way through, which they can't on that occasion. It's a good ball through the middle, the touch from Taggart. Showing a bit too much, likewise from Grant. Tsar can get out of the spot of bother. Now Kispe. Inside, back to Kispe from Toure. A little bit of contact through Pennington. Still with Sydney now, Wallity. Sydney just happy to knock it around, pick their moment. Garuccio. Inside to Kispe. Alex Grant, centre-back, well inside his own attacking half. Ryan Grant brings the field wide through Wallity. The left boot cross of Wallity nodded away by Kaltak. Perth Glory camped in their defensive half. Just starting to pinch a little bit of distance forward. pass from Alex Grant, a diagonal switch. Quality's touch, a little disappointing.
And that's the problem for Perth Glory, winning the ball back. They can't play anybody down that line. It's got to go centrally to Taggart or Lawrence, but they're so deep as well. But they understand the assignment tonight. It's Sydney FC. They can play through lines. They can play around you if you get too close. And yes, they're 1-0 down, but it could quite easily become 2 if those distances aren't right. You can just see right now, really nice shape about Perth Glory here.
Happy to consolidate. Just try and absorb a bit of pressure. Pass from Kispe is read well by Caltac. Good quality. Schmears long. Wooden to Caltac, and we're starting to see more and more from that defensive pairing. Perth's turn to try and find a way through. Patient play. Pennington across to Caltac, right to Risdon. Risdon's ball. It's really well to thread through to Taggart, but Alex Grant is up to the challenge. The use of the body.
And sometimes that's all it needs, is somebody to take that risk, make the run, as Adam Taggart did there, and the ball will come through. And just test the back line of Sydney FC. They were sitting off, they were waiting, they were trying to catch their breath. But for the Perth Glory, they know they can turn 1 or 2 passes into a corner.
One corner apiece. Tom Lawrence to take for the home side. The outswing off the right boot. Nice shape on the delivery. Tisserand, well, so dominant in the air. The re-entry, and it's Caltac. Oh, so close with Perth, and he knows it.
Well, no offside calls. That is a big, big chance missed for the big Brian Caltac. Just that ball coming all the way across, and he could have even played it across the goal. Probably expected contact from Devon Ishmears, but from that sort of angle, with that head, it's got to go in the back of the net.
Jacob Burns is sidelined for us tonight. Burnsy, what's been your account of the opening 20 minutes or so?
Yes, it's been quite the opener. You wouldn't think that conditions are sweltering hot and a drink space needed with both teams coming flying out of the gates. What an atmosphere, and expected off the back of 3 wins. The indicator always for me down here is the Shed, and they're in full voice, although we're down 1-0 at the moment. But yeah, it's quite a show. Sydney, like you guys have both mentioned up there, have started so bright. Their press, listening to Griff, who's just to my left, he wants the team to keep the ball a little bit better in transition. He feels as though they're giving it up a little bit too cheaply, but that has to do with Sydney's press on the front foot. They've been very impressive.
Thank you, Burnsy. Having a bit of a chat with the bosses before kick-off. Allegra there. Holding the contract, no doubt. And we expect to see that one signed from all accounts in the next week. Former Sydney player himself. Here's Adam Griffith, season 2012-2013.
Yeah, he knows the league, doesn't he? Got a spell at Wellington Phoenix as well. He's been all around, understands the local game, how it's played here, and I think that drinks break would have been a lot more. Would have been different if Caltac put that ball in the back of the net. Just the 89 games and 3 goals for Brian Caltech. Not really a natural goal scorer, but he had to score there.
They knew it as well. The reaction said it all. So 25 minutes gone, a drinks break, just one each half. Campuzano retreating as the free kick goes the way of Perth Glory. Tom Lawrence again on set-piece duties, just took the corner, now standing over the free kick. Most numbers forward, Pennington, Caltech at the back of that lineup. No doubt just looking to drift in, and Scott Wooden to a big target. Chance for Perth. Can they find an equaliser? Not with that free kick, they can't. Bozanovski as well to hold on to possession. That pass anticipated. Campuzano streaming forward. Releases Toure, who strides to that beautifully. That's a well-timed challenge from Risdon. Experienced defending, coolly done by Perth. Kacharski still. Less coolly done on that final pass. Perth searching forward, back with Sydney FC. Bozanovski. Shamoon. And Pennington. The idea was right. It's exactly the intended outcome, as Toure's shown too much of that to Risdon. Risdon's ball, beautiful turn from Adam Taggart, and really, really well off his line is Harrison Devonish-Mears, had to be.
Well, credit Josh Risdon there. Went in physically a couple of minutes earlier, and then that pass is so nice. That's exactly what you want as a striker. Play it into me and let me try and roll. And unfortunately for Adam Taggart, that touch was just a little bit too heavy for him. But I feel as though that every time you see Sydney FC that are unset, Perth go and set the trap, and that's the time to go as a team and press and try and get that opportunity, because as much as Perth is sitting in, Sydney FC aren't willing to jump as well because it's so hot.
Very good. Back to goal play by Adam Taggart. Great strength on that challenge. Just ran out of real estate to run into. Good goalkeeping too. Doesn't need too many of those chances though. Here comes Grant. Bouncing pass to Toure. Nice little 1-2, the give and go. Was well worked. Al-Hassan Toure drives inside, the reverse ball. And that's well defended by Scott Wooden.
It's become a bit of a theme for Sydney FC, how to involve Victor Campuzano a little bit more, and he wants the ball into his feet. Everybody could see a mile away there what Al-Hassan Toure was going to do. Maybe he could have kept going inside and taken the space that Campuzano had made for him, and that's where he's been good for Sydney FC. He creates space for other players, but he really wants that ball to his feet.
Kacharski helps that on to Pennington. Pennington releases the ball to Taggart. Now Lawrence, if he can find a way to face forward. Surrounded by Sydney players, and again, it's the industry of Garuccio coming well across to cover. Passing high is Perth Glory. Quality, doing well under pressure. Pressure valve only as far as Bozanovski, still with Perth. Lovely little touch on to Taggart. Doesn't quite have the legs. That's smart thinking by Kacharski. First time ball. And Taggart expects that kind of delivery. 30 minutes past. been a fairly transitional game. Hot conditions still. Sitting at 33 degrees. Bit of a slight breeze, but nonetheless difficult conditions to play a fast brand of football.
This feels like the moment for Perth Glory. Getting on top, creating chances, getting the ball into their strikers' feet. Exactly what you want to do when you're playing that 4-4-2 system. And Adam Griffiths has talked about simplifying things at training, making everybody work for each other. He's certainly got that recipe at the moment, because it would have been very easy to sit in and conserve energy and hope and play on the counter. But they're pressing well, they're going high in numbers here.
Pennington can kick out a pass. He finds one in Bozanovski. Time to turn and face Tom Lawrence. His shot blocked. Still with Lawrence. Just a bit going on here. Lots of bodies flying at the ball. Eventually, it's Baruccio who hooks that away. Throw taken quickly. Freeney pulls it out through Wooden. Back with Risdon, who's been busy in this opening half hour. And now it's Sydney who are happy to sit back, consolidate that defensive shape. Zanovsky, who's been really good in the midfield for Perth since moving across from Western United. Sydney looking for a way out, won't find it there. That's Kacharski. Risdon. Kacharski an option forward. Taggart wrestling in the middle with Tisserand. Shamoon working hard on that left flank for Perth Glory. Not getting as much of the ball as what we're seeing on this right side with Risdon.
This is a very clear example of how momentum can shift after a drinks break. And thankfully we don't have two in this half tonight, but it's exactly what's occurred. Perth are getting on the ball more, they have more energy, great for them. But for Sydney FC, who were in that pattern, in that groove, they just seem a little bit unsettled at the moment. Lawrence, good strength, almost. Looking for a free kick, nothing given, says Lachlan Keevers. Touch from Kautak, almost does himself, can recover. Risdon's pass to no one in particular as Sydney pick up possession again. Despite that little spell from Perth Glory, they're yet to register a shot on target. But this is where the action's happening, and that rings true. Freeney, nicely done to Lawrence. Kacharski will chase. Lucho puts the head down, can't get there. There's just a couple of finer details missing, I think, for Perth Glory. Once they get themselves in that final third, they can actually be a little bit more simple. Play it to someone, go and support them, double up, create an overload, go and get a clear-cut opportunity. Yes, it's hot and players are fatiguing already, but that is the key for them. They can do so much more in that final third.
Feels like there's plenty left in this match yet. Plenty of goals, plenty to happen. Sydney have done really well in recent history to protect a lead when going ahead first. 3 games that they've opened the scoring, they've gone on to win those 3, 100% record when finding the first goal. Perth needing to make the most of their momentum. Kacharski pinches through to Risdon, who can get a ball through. Now across to Pennington. Back to Taggart, anticipated well by Sydney's defence, but not quite dealt with. Risdon now. Wants panic stations at the back for Sydney. But Tisserand makes that look too easy. Lovely ball to release. Sydney FC drive in forward. Al-Hassan Toure has Kaltak to beat. Swivels out. Underneath him is Quintal. Bit of space to drive at numbers, but he too turns out. Perth have got a few numbers back behind the ball. Almost coming to a standstill. Toure trying to combine, but it's under pressure. Lawrence retreating deep. It's a nice touch from Bozanovski just to relieve the pressure. That one a little less so. Runs into danger, still manages to find a pass out through Tom Lawrence. Doesn't mind coming all the way back to help out. Bozanovski can turn, face forward. Pressure relieved. Nice ball out from Pennington to add to that forward pass count. Charbel Shamoon, a little clip into the box, a lovely one floated to the far post, and Kacharski, well, he thought that was going to land perfectly on his head.
There is some great movement coming from both fullbacks, from both teams at the moment. If it's not pressure coming forward, it's getting there and creating opportunities and going and supporting that winger. And Risdon was at the heart of it, starting off that little flurry of opportunities, but both sides running out of gas. You can see the conditions are zapping at the moment.
It's a concerning sign for Reece Bozanovski. Just looks a little sore as he returns to his feet. Started all 8 games for the Glory since the move from Western United. Able to jog off and a smile as well, that's good. Here's Freeney. Needing some support. Finds it all the way back through Wooten. Shamoon back on his right foot and again clips the ball in. Grant nods away. In comes Kaltak. Bozanovski, nice pass to Risdon. Tries to squeak it through to Kacharski, but Caruccio is on the money. Risdon again on that lovely left boot. Lawrence turns, tries to cut it back, and again, it's congested in that 18-yard box.
And brilliant energy from both sides. Risdon at the heart of it, just though Taggart's got a problem now, so lots of things happening there.
The countdown well and truly on. The AFC Women's Asian Cup, 77 days in March 2026. But this concerning for Adam Taggart, just clutching at that right groin. And you know when you feel a tweak or a little bit of tightness as he gets a bit of attention from the physio.
And let's not forget last week, Grace, they played the majority of the match with 10 men. And yeah, you talk about a 7-day turnaround and not having fatigue, but it does actually creep up on you because you're overexerting yourself to get the points, to get through that 90 minutes. And then throughout the week, yes, you're training, recovering, but you get to this point where you're running on the red line. It's football, it's game day.
Bernsey, what's happening down on the sideline?
There's a little bit of concern with Taggart, who's just gone down, and just trying to get a little bit of feedback to see what he's actually done. He was holding his groin there, so we're hoping that, and it looks like he's coming off. Yeah, physio's just signed over that he needs to come. So hopefully that's nothing too bad, but obviously bad enough for him to come off at this stage. He looks a bit disappointed. Looks like a groin.
Thanks, Bernsey. Really disappointing for Tags there. Handed the captain's armband over, and that's an early night, an early shower for Adam Taggart. So replacing Adam Taggart for just his second appearance of the season is Arion Suleimani, the 20-year-old. And big moments for the young man. His last appearance in that 4-0 loss to City in round 2. Hasn't seen the pitch since. Big shoes to fill in that of Adam Taggart. Have a little look at how positionally that shakes out. Here's Freeney. Starting to grow into the game a bit more this half. Will Freeney, a little quiet to start. So inside the last 5 minutes before half-time, and I think it would be a welcome break to get in some fluid, some hydration, and just cool the temperature.
Well, the game's there for the taking, I think, for both sides. They shouldn't feel out of it, the Perth Glory. They've had opportunities, and that's the biggest plus point for them going into half-time, is that they have opened up Sydney FC, and with fatigue setting in and the conditions playing a part, you would expect the Perth Glory to know these conditions a little bit more. The travel factor, they haven't had to travel. So Sydney FC, in the second half, you would expect them to maybe conserve and shut up shop a little bit more as the game goes on.
A little spell here for the Glory is Risdon. Really need to make something at the end of these moves. Yet to register a single shot on target. Graham past a couple of lines of defence to Wallity. Cuts inside. Abel Wallity will have a go, and he's left himself, and that's not far off. And why not? Right in the blushes of half-time.
He's full of confidence, and it's great to see. Not satisfied with the one, he wants to go and get another. Campuzano makes a good run, staying away, allowing that space for him to come into. See the run? And from distance, you've got to go and have a crack when it opens up like that, and it was not far away from the goal scorer of this match.
Back in the 5th minute, Wallity poked that one home for Sydney FC. Perth yet to fashion a response. Early exit for Adam Taggart would not have been part of the plan. Yet to register a shot on target, and ideally want a player the ilk of Adam Taggart out there to add to that count. Not to be the case. Kispay taken to ground. Let's see. Not a single shot on target for Perth. Just 3 for Sydney.
Wasn't much in there. I think Kispay was smart enough to know he was losing possession of the football. That's a rarity in his game. But yeah, talking about that formation change, it looks as though you can see Kucharski maybe playing through the middle and Slimani out wide, and Tom Lawrence possibly just playing on Reece Yuli there as that number 10 option. So there is a bit of a change in that system.
Sydney throw. Here's Campuzano. Pushes past one and creates a bit of space for himself. Nudges it forward to Wallity. Seen out by Kaltak. Sydney would love a second right before the half-time break. Perth would love an equaliser. They could have and arguably should have had one through Brian Kaltak. Slimani gives chase, closely marshalled by his number 17 in opposition, Garuccio. 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. Dropping deep to pick up possession for his side. 31-year-old. Was recently in from Scotland with Rangers. Took a little while to settle into football in Australia, Tom Lawrence, the Welshman. But has looked really good since finding a bit of fitness, finding a bit of continuity.
Well, now the next challenge, playing without Adam Taggart. He's got to find a different way and use the speed of the youngsters he got in front of him. Kucharski is that option. And yes, he's in that number 9 role, but if he can go and split the two central defenders with a pass and allow Kucharski to go onto it, that's going to be the game plan, I think, for Perth Glory.
Pennington is playing in a slightly more advanced position tonight. His first start of the season. He's been really good off the bench in the last couple of games. That pass a little short by Caltac, but centering ball to Bozanovski, who's dealt with that really well. Faces forward again. Here's Pennington. Bozanovski. Shamoon. Lovely ball through. Grant to beat. Charbel Shamoon again clipped into the far post. 2 or 3 times now Charbel Shamoon has found that option and it's looked good.
Well, is he left-footed? Is he right-footed? I don't think he knows. It's beautiful work there, coming inside, and it's a great ball to the far post. Garuccio again doing it just enough to put the substitute off at the far post, but they have shown signs, the Glory, that there are opportunities to play into that Sydney FC backline, and they will give you opportunities. They've just got to be a bit more deadly in front of goal.
Header back from where it came. Now with Garuccio. Bewley and Tisserand. Through Alex Grant, leaves it for Kispe. This is better from Sydney. Quintal. Forward facing, stretches the field through Wallerty, but that's asking a bit much. Wallerty will get there. Shamoon sends him backwards. Campuzano looking for an option, but not able to get on the ball too much. Just floating in around that 18-yard box. It's Kispe. Silky. Kispe still. Pushes it wide to Toure. Toure will have a pop himself. Flashes off the side netting.
He's been really lively in this first half, and it was a good look as well for Al Hassan Toure, who's got that technique. See it dipping right at the last moment. Matt Sutton was not sure if that was going to creep into the corner. They'll need more of that, Sydney FC, as the game wears on.
Four minutes of stoppage time have elapsed. Matt Sutton just happy to see out the last few seconds of this opening half. Plenty of discussions happening on the sidelines. Half-time whistle and maybe a welcome pause. It's a big half-time chat coming up at either side. Draws to a close. A hot but heavily contested first 45 minutes. There's that man on the left there, Abel Wallerty, in the 5th minute for Sydney FC. His first start of the season. Kucharski up and about, but Perth ultimately unable to level the playing field. So half-time at HBF Park. It's Perth Glory 0, Sydney FC 1. Well, for those in the west, grab a refreshment. For the East Coast viewers tonight, don't go anywhere. The half-time show is just a moment away.
Welcome back to the Hungry Jacks halftime show, an absorbing clash between the Perth Glory and Sydney FC at HBF Park. Back there in a moment, but let's take a look at what's coming up in the A-League tomorrow. Daniel McBreen and Eric Partsley. We start with the Wellington Phoenix and Newcastle Jets, two sides that are battling to get things on track at the moment.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. We'd love to see, we have been seeing this Wellington high line, and we've also seen the Jets, when they play out, all their players go high. We might just see two teams facing off on the halfway line and the goalkeeper's going, where do we play it? But look, in all seriousness, this is a big game for both. Obviously, Newcastle want to play their style of football. It has backfired when they give that ball away, and we've seen Wellington starting to adjust that back line with a better press in front. So if Newcastle can play through that press, we can see them opening up Wellington. If they get caught up in that press, we can see Wellington going on and winning this game.
Yeah, Wellington lost a man, didn't they, in that back line, so they've got to reshuffle something against the Jets. I think for Newcastle, they travelled away to Auckland recently and got a great result. They'll be hoping that they can sort of fall back on those same sort of feelings going to Wellington. And I think you're right, Macca. It's going to be really open, a lot of chances, and I'm expecting a lot of goals in this fixture. But I think for the Wellington Phoenix, we're sort of asking now, what's the way of playing? It's sort of outweighing the results at the moment. This high line we've talked about, but it's in their other general play, and I thought they were quite disappointing in the derby. So this is a game they have to get back on track.
So next week we have a real Christmas cracker, one that we should start talking about now, the Melbourne Derby. We look forward to it immensely, of course. The big games for the victory. They just keep rolling on. A Big Blue not long ago, original rivalry. Now they've got a derby, so much speculation around their manager, so much pressure on the players. You've been in these situations as players before. Can it start to become taxing mentally for a playing group, almost blockbuster fatigue?
I think it does. I think it plays on your mind, and if you see some of the players walking off the pitch for Melbourne Victory, there's all those whispers that are starting that whose fault is it, and they're trying to probably look at the moment not to place blame, but also to sort of go back into themselves and go, it's not my fault as well. And that's when it starts to get really difficult. They're looking up at the ladder going, 3 points won't get us anywhere. We need 6, we need 9. These run of games at Amy Park is so important. But Melbourne City, they won the last derby 2-0 there, a couple of weeks ago. So they're really up against it, Macca.
Well, if this is the form book, it's a derby. Just throw it. Just get rid of it. We don't need it, because if there's any motivation needed, this is it. And we've seen this go against the grain so many times when you think, well, they're overwhelming favourites, this one, this team, this time, and then the other team comes out and gets the win, and it has changed their season sometimes. So I don't know which way this will go. It could go either way.
Where are Melbourne City the champions at for you, both of you?
I think they've been slow to start, but it's definitely the ACL elite. They've drawn a lot of games. That win against Newcastle was a huge win. That 1-0 win was just like, we are the team. When you've got Kai Truan playing as a number 6, the young boys up front, we still haven't seen the best of them. I think they'll be the second half of the season.
And also good teams, quality teams, when they aren't at their best, still grind out results. A draw and a win when they could have potentially lost in either of those games. I think you'll see them, as Eric said, starting to steam home towards the end of the season.
Don't forget the Melbourne Derby next week as we build up to Christmas. That is something to really get you excited. We cannot wait for it. Melbourne City and the victory, always a special encounter. All right, let's get back out to HBF Park with your commentators as they look over the first half and build up to the second between the Perth Glory and Sydney FC.
Well, plenty to like about that first half at HBF Park. Let's have a look at the Harvey Norman highlights, which there was plenty going on in that first stanza.
Yeah, and it only took 5 minutes for Sydney FC to take the lead. Wallity was quality down that left-hand side, and he started this move. Kisbay involved again, and the ball just sort of got to that back post, but look how close all those Sydney FC players are inside the 6-yard box. Wallaty's run is so good because he's getting himself into that position. Al Hassan Toure was so good on the left-hand side, getting that ball across, and the run there, that's the key thing for me, Grace. He's inside there waiting for that option, and Joe Lolly out. Who's Joe Lolly?
Well, not too quickly forgotten is Joe Lolly, but nonetheless, a brilliant start for Abel Wallity. And so far, it's proved to be a vital early goal in that first half. Here's the half-time match stats as we have a look. Perth Glory trailing to Sydney FC. They're yet to register a single shot on target. Possession is fairly even across the course. And fair to say, Perth should probably be doing a little bit more with some of the chances that they have created, because it hasn't been a first half devoid of opportunity.
Well, they'll have to do it without Adam Taggart now in the second half. And yeah, they hit the crossbar here. Anything could have happened, but they've coughed up quite a few opportunities, Sydney FC. It's bouncing around. Tom Lawrence had that really good look early on. He should have hit the target. Brian Kaltak had a great opportunity to get himself on the score sheet as well. Oh, this is the one here. And yeah, I mean, he's just got to score. It's as simple as that. It was a great opportunity and a great option for them. Shamoon's been lively, got this one onto his right foot, put it into a good area. I think Perth Glory have got an opportunity here in the second half, especially early on while the energy's high. They've got to try and take the game to Sydney FC.
Well, that was the Hungry Jacks half-time show. Lots to look forward to, not only in this next 45 minutes, but also next weekend. One of the very best in the A-League calendar, the Melbourne Derby.
As Derby days in the Isuzu UTE A-League go, they don't come much bigger than this at Amy Park. And here's Caputo. Oh, what a finish! Took it first time. Less than 90 seconds on the clock in the biggest match of the campaign so far. The shot and the goal. Antonio, the 18-year-old, has added City second in the Derby.
Turn around now, maybe too late. Tempo, considering the conditions are sweltering hot here.
Come on up, that's going up, the Dolphins are coming off. We'll get the ball right here. All right, now, you've got no shoes. No shoes. All right, you get the no shoes benefit of going right from here. You've got to get past Lionel. Let's clap her in. First and free, $100 voucher being tried. Here we go. No shoes. Oh, T-bar. All right, where's the next ball? Where's the next one? We need the ball. Here we go. All right, quick. One more, two more to go. Go. Here we go. You got to get it in. There's one. We got one more with you. You got to get this one past Lionel. Counter and clap her in right there. Here we go. Yes! $200 voucher for you. Give her a round of applause. Well done. Thank you to Peter and big thank you to the Lions team. Lionel doing a great job. Shake hands. Well done, team. Give her a round of applause.
Think Group is the official catering partner of Perth Glory and tonight's match day sponsor. Think Group is a leading provider of food solutions, commercial catering, venue cleaning and housekeeping, partnering with some of Australia's most well-known brands. And now you can experience the same delicious food that fills the plates with a wide range of platters and integrated local options. Visit thinkgroup.com.au for more.
Liberty supports the A-Leagues, they're on your team too. Whether you're planning a holiday or buying a new home, they could provide the assist you need to keep your free thinking goals. Liberty, loans for free thinkers. Kick off your investment journey with eToro. Invest in stocks, ETFs and crypto all in one app. And start chasing your investment goals today. Join over 40 million users worldwide. eToro, proud sponsor of the A-Leagues.
Welcome back to HBF Park, where the Perth Glory trail to Sydney FC following what proved to be a vital early goal to Abel-Wallati. Someone who is sweating through it all on the sideline is Jacob Burns. Burnsy, what have you got for us?
Well, what an impressive start first half. Considering the challenging conditions here, you wouldn't think that both teams could come out of the block so well. I think both managers will be quite happy, although Griffo would be disappointed that Kaltak couldn't put his head and going up 1-1. And the disappointing news is obviously losing Taggart, such an important player for Glory. How do they adjust? I talked to him as he was coming off, and he said it's a groin issue. He said he was struggling a little bit leading into it, but yeah, it didn't look good. So it'll be interesting with Kacharski up top there and how they readjust. But like you guys have mentioned, I think there's more goals and more entertainment in this game.
Yes, a big 45 minutes coming up here. Just the one forced change so far. Taggart off in the 40th minute, replaced by Suleimani. So plenty of options for both coaches, and they'll need to dig into their bench tonight. Still oppressive conditions in Perth. Still over 30 degrees as we look to get this second half underway. Last time Perth beat Sydney was back in January of 2022. It's been a long time between drinks. They'll want to give it every shot to go 4 in a row and make amends in this second half. So it's Perth who get things underway. Tom Lawrence all the way back through Scott Wootton. Thinks about a long searching pass, finds Freeney instead, who does that role exactly for him. Here's Pennington, his touch into the path of Ryan Grant. And tucked deep in their own defensive third. Sydney FC. Freeney picks up possession, turns on the ball, tries to slip in Shamoon, but cleverly defended by Ryan Grant. And Eric Pardaloo with hot conditions continuing as the night kicks on. You'd expect coaches to turn to their bench maybe sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they've got to be smart too, the players that are on the pitch currently, and just did some digging at half-time there. It's been a long time since Ava Wallity has completed 90 minutes, back in 15th of February for Western United, and you're looking at those players, those fast twitch players that play on the wings. They are the ones that maybe you look to change around about the 60 or 70 minute mark. Al Hassan Toure falls in that category as well, hasn't completed a 90 minutes, and with those 5 subs available in the modern game, I think both coaches are going to use all they can tonight to get across the line.
Well, Kacharski! Oh, well, that would have been a way to get his side back on level terms. And the Shed could have been mistaken for thinking that hit the back of the net.
He is capable of things like this, and you cannot switch off for a second against the Perth Glory. And in that number 9 role, he hit it so well. Almost going and creeping into that top corner. Devonish Mears at full stretch. That would have been an absolute cracker to get this game started back in the second half.
What a hit that was. And we saw Jaden Kacharski finish a few like that during his time at Sydney FC. Certainly capable. No changes yet, besides that previously mentioned one of the first half. Adam Taggart out, confirmation of a groin strain that he was managing as he came into the game. Cathano just pressuring Sutton. Risdon, who was busy in that first half. Down the line to Suleimani. Tries to poke it through to Risdon, but Toure has retreated to defend. Risdon keeps things moving. Freeney, space in front. Risdon on his left foot, he'll have a go. Or maybe the instruction has been to shoot on sight.
Great energy, particularly with Devonish Mears with a possible groin complaint. Good to see Josh Risdon in another advanced position. He's been forward quite a lot in this game, trying to lay down and make sure that he's in this starting 11 moving forward for the Perth Glory. But that halftime team talk has injected a lot of energy into this side.
On ball from deep in Sydney FC's defensive half. Strength shown by Kucharski, but Alex Grant can work his way back into position. Grant's looking for the foul. Not happy with the contact from Kucharski. Perth have a throw. Helped on. Bewley can nod away. This time it's Perth ready to pick things up. Lawrence picked. Nothing from the referee. Still Perth. Turns back out. Now the centering cross, and Schmears read the flight of the ball well. Comfortable grab. Looks to be fine after that first half concern of his groin too. Quality. Heavily to ground, maybe a little bit of frustration from Tom Lawrence.
Jaden Kucharski's down now as well for the Perth Glory. They're dropping like flies at the moment. Hopefully it's just a touch of cramp. But you've got to give Sydney FC credit where it's due. They're still looking to play, even though Perth Glory are coming at them with all this energy. It'll be very easy to clear the lines and go up to the halfway line and try and start from there. But they want to control the games. They want to be the team at the top of the table tonight.
Well, Burnsy, Jaden Kucharski is cutting a frustrated figure.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if he thinks he can still continue, but it is a little concerning. He had a soft tissue injury a little while ago. We've had a number of players that, including now Taggart, picking up these kind of soft tissue or groin issues. It's something they need to look at. That can be with the change, maybe in training patterns with a new manager as well, or the conditions of where they're training. But yeah, you want to be able to. I think Eric touched on it earlier. The lack of changes that Ufia's had to make and the consistency in the players. I know there's forced ones, but trying to keep your best players healthy and on the pitch for long periods of time always helps.
Well, Kucharski leaving the field of play, being replaced by Colin No for his third appearance of the season, and Josh Risdon as well after a really busy, productive stint. He's replaced in what is a really welcome return to the field for Sam Sutton. This is his first of the A-League season. Did have an appearance in the Australia Cup. Battled a knee injury that's kept him out up until this point. Really good young prospect from the Wellington Phoenix, and has a good 40 minutes ahead of him, Sam Sutton, to settle into this side. Injury woes are concerning for Perth Glory. Taggart coming off, Kucharski coming off. Luke Amos is still unavailable. Joel Onasmo, Zachary Zalewski, Lockie Wales is off getting some second opinions on scans and the like.
Yeah, that really doesn't help you, does it? When you're a team that's trying to maintain their position in the top six. But for this game here, right now, right here, Grace, it's all about trying to get back into the game as soon as possible, because we know it's going to be difficult more the game goes on. Sydney FC playing out really well, but they've got to go and force the issue. It's as simple as that.
Speaking of forcing the issue, that's well done by Will Freeney. There's Bozanovski. Searching for No, the substitute. The pass is a bit skinny. Here comes Wooten. Here's Sutton. Early touches on the ball. 24-year-old. Coming across with former Wellington Phoenix teammate in Scott Wooten. Pennington tracking deep. Getting pull the strings. Searching for No. He just loses sight of it. Shamoon now. That's a good ball as well, ahead of Tom Lawrence, who's looks really busy.
and dangerous from any area of the pitch. Maybe just a contact knock there for Shamoon, who has swapped over. He is right-footed after all, Grace. What a ball that was. Very difficult to generate a power on the header there for Tom Lawrence, but get him in front of goal more often. That's a really tasty delivery inside the box. Devonish Mears again up to the task for Sydney FC.
Well, he likes it, a thumbs up, and it's a shot on target. The first of the evening for Perth Glory. Just 3 for Sydney. Seven shots at goal apiece. Sydney looking to fashion a move forward. XG not all too convincing for either side tonight. Tisseron's long ball over the top. Contact through the back of Sutton, but Wallety's done well on that occasion. Tal runs into Kaltak. Grant now. Caruccio with Kispe. Ture. Kispe to Ture again. Pass to the path. Suleimani. Good strength from Bozanovski. Shakes off one. Goes looking for the ball again. Here's Grace Bozanovski. That pass too easily read. Hassan Toure can exploit the space. Coming through and pushing the shot past Matt Sutton. Almost catching him completely unawares. Hardly any backlift on that strike.
Well, he's got that little technique inside of him there, and his mix and match tonight has been really good. Getting forward, keeping it simple at times, using his energy in the right way when he can, and going forward in those positions. That's 2 now in really good positions, and the technique is there, just the direction has got to be better. But Al Hassan Toure, you know there's going to be a goal tonight. He's very, very lively.
That's looked excellent. Hassan Toure, 4 goals for the season, sharing that goal count with a few others. Love to add another to that tally. It's Pennington, neatly done. Nicholas Pennington. That pass too, lovely to Lawrence. Sutton can drive into space. He's brought to ground, whistle blows.
Well, it's good to see Sutton getting forward, running with the ball, and that's something where Perth Glory can really open up their pitch on that left-hand side, is from those sorts of avenues and driving runs with energy. Substitutes got a lot of it.
And again, it's Tom Lawrence standing over this set piece. He's been involved in a lot tonight. Lawrence, just looking where he'll drop this one. Plenty of numbers to aim for, and that is high, looping up and under. And makes that a little too comfortable for Devonish Mears. Had a long chance to look at it. Quick counter-attacking play. Charbel Shamoon positioned well. Now Perth can mount an attack. No, back to Sutton, the substitutes combining. Sam Sutton's left foot blocked by Grant. Oh no, his touch into danger as well as Wality. Campuzano just really struggling to get involved in the game this evening. Bozanovski pulling the hamstrings at the base of midfield for Perth. Shadil Shamoon. Outside of the right boot, that's a lovely little give and go. Shamoon runs into trouble. Still, maybe we'll have another chance. Plenty of Sydney defenders around. Pennington keeps things alive for Perth. His delivery, disappointing in the end.
Well, you can see what he's trying to do. It was on at the far post. Sutton was free. Sydney FC scrambled to get this one free. Shamoon did so well to get himself inside the box and cause a problem. Look at that, 3 Sydney FC players not knowing where to put the ball. And the surface looks a little bit dry out there. I'm not sure if they've wet it at half-time or it's been so hot that it's dried up already. There's those action areas, Grace. Lots of stuff coming through the middle of the pitch, as you'd expect with these two teams.
A bit of fatigue as well for Nick Pennington, who prior to tonight had played a maximum of 38 minutes in a game, every other appearance off the bench. So hot conditions ticking over into that 60-minute mark. We expect to start to see some changes. Perth starting to ring them in already. Tale sticking with his starting 11 that begun the match. 30 minutes to play. Freeney. Still Freeney for Perth. Misguided the pass. Quality, and that will be the first yellow ticket of the evening.
It was really, really important for Wallity there, positionally, to know his job, to come inside and make an extra number in midfield. Yeah, we talk about his outlet ability and go and dribble and cause problems in the final third, but if you're going to be in this Sydney FC side with Ufuk Talay, you've got to go inside, you've got to do your job defensively. That was fantastic work.
A yellow card to Tom Lawrence, who knew exactly what he was doing. Tactical foul, bringing Wallity to ground. Slowing down the attack. Here he is. He's been really productive, Tom Lawrence. Here, there and everywhere for Perth Glory. Nice switch of play to find Sutton. Up and under a ball again. We've seen a couple of those in the last few minutes for Perth. Not quite the delivery that's needed.
Well, Francis de Vries is not playing in this game, unfortunately. He would have put that on somebody's head, but you've got to give Sam Sutton a little bit of rope coming in after so long. He's got to get it right there, of course, but he had a great run from the other substitute, Koanong, who's looking to get on the ball a lot more for the Perth Glory. Perhaps he can spark something different and create something different.
The vocal shed, great to see. Perth Glory supporters out in numbers tonight. Face forward and just set the shape for Sydney FC. Caruccio, who's been good again this evening. It's a nice turn in the middle of the park. Isuzu, the pass a little less than desirable though. Frustrated at himself.
Just those moments, Grace, for Rhys Yuli playing as a lone 6. He's got more time than he thinks playing against Perth Glory's pretty rigid lines. And yes, no Paul Ocon Jr. again tonight. He's had a good game, Yuli in there, but that moment there is almost exactly what Perth Glory wants you to do. Try and play it through the middle and get cut out. Actually, there's a better pass in a wider area. Ryan Grant was out there. And if they're smart enough, Sydney FC, with this 1-0 lead, they can continue to move that ball left and right.
Sydney readying a change on the sideline. It won't be in that little break in play. Patrick Wood perhaps to stand in waiting just a moment longer. A little under 30 minutes to play. cool as ever at the back. Now Ryan Grant. Hear the frustration for himself more than anything. So it will be Thiago Quintal making way. And Patrick Wood, what is his 8th appearance of the season, all off the bench. Of course, Wood spent a bit of time at Perth Glory last season, returned to Sydney FC. And big moments for a player, former team, back to his home team. A little supportive hand around there from Scott Wooden as well. Well, he's played very little, Pat Wood. All appearances off the bench, just a little over 100 minutes in those 8 appearances, and 2 goals in that time. Really effective.
Certainly, and I think Ufuk Tale's utilisation of Wood has been first class. When to put him in, when is the right moments, and we can just see here that's potentially the reason why he's gone to the bench, because Sydney FC have not been making enough passes in the final third of the opponent's half. So now they've got that hold-up player up top.
It's been a decent start to this second half for Perth Glory. Some real sustained periods of possession, some more chances. Haven't quite been able to make the most of them. So the score remains with Perth trailing to Sydney. A lone goal for this game arriving in just the 5th minute. But maybe second, not too far away here. Tom Lawrence striding into space, has a couple of options, runs into one, runs into two, and ultimately runs into danger. Sydney FC dispel any concerns. Al Hassan Toure can face forward.
Where have we seen that before? Tom Lawrence on a fast break, getting forward with numbers, and had players to use on either side of him as well. Decided to go alone. That's a worrying sign for Sydney FC, is that Tom Lawrence in space running with the ball. That spells trouble.
Sydney with plenty of numbers behind the ball here, so Sutton turns out. Freeney, who just had a really nice turn in midfield a few moments ago. Kaltak to Bozanovsky. No. Won well by Pennington. It's poked away. Campazano releases Toure. Sutton puts the head down to keep pace with Al Hassan Toure. Just slows down. Gives possession back the way of Perth. Maybe some tired passes under a tough night, tough conditions. Bozanovsky, nice little touch in there by Lawrence. Shamoon. His cross blocked by Grant. Campazano faces forward, releases the ball, the pass. IG is right. Again, it's Reece Bozanovsky who is covering some serious ground tonight.
Unsung hero for a lot of the season. And remember last year at Western, really, really satisfying watching him continue his form without Angus Thurgate in this Perth Glory side.
Little flash forward, Sutton. Glances inside, lovely centering ball. Pushes it one, pushes it twice. The strike from nose blocked. A real flashpoint for Perth. Just little moments, glimpses, openings.
Well, Adam Griffiths must be really happy with what he's seeing so far, because his side are getting into opportunities and looks in front of goal. Quality seems to have a little bit of cramp, but Bozanovsky's been everywhere. The substitutes are combining. Perth, they have their tail up.
Quality, not dissimilar to Pennington, hasn't played all that many minutes, especially not in a starting capacity. Burnsy, what's going on down at the sideline?
Yeah, they're a well-earned drink break with the tempo that's been happening out here and the conditions. But yeah, really interesting with the changes. It's kind of they've come at the worst time, really. Kucharski, Eric touched on it. Perth were lacking just that final kind of simple things, doing it right in that final third. And we come out in the second half, and they had a couple of great strikes on goal, and I think that's just what they needed. And then the forced changes, and then the reshuffling from with Rizzo coming off, Shamoon onto the other side. There's probably been 4 or 5 actual positional changes, which has kind of knocked them a little bit. I'd love to see a little bit more direct play in that final third, someone taking a strike from distance, and someone getting onto the end of Shamoon's crosses. He's been unbelievable tonight.
Thank you, Burnsy. Quality back on his feet, good to see. And a drinks break just as we tick over to the 70th minute mark. I'm sure is welcome fluid and hydration for both teams.
Well, Jacob Burns hit the nail on the head there, Grace. For Sydney FC, they look to the bench as well. But for Perth Glory, it's more of the same to get more numbers into the box.
Sydney FC with another change. It's Victor Campuzano making way for Wataru Kamijo. Kamijo's 4th appearance of the season, the 19-year-old, good 20 minutes ahead of him. All appearances for Kamijo have been off the bench this season. Play back underway. Pennington dropping a little deeper into Perth's midfield. Probably where he's more comfortable, arguably, than where he's been playing for the most part of this game. Pushes it wide and looks for the pass in kind. Getting through the back of Pat Wood affords Perth Glory a chance. Sutton looks inside on his right boot. And that had nice shape about it. Good numbers arriving for Perth Glory. Steered away these chances, just building for the home side. Lawrence. Sutton back to Lawrence. Lawrence might have a go himself. Square ball, no. Has Shamoon to his right. Nudges it that way. Oh, no. Can't find a way past Wallity. Goes to ground heavily in that contact.
We can expect more of this as this game draws to a close, the next 20 minutes or so, and precisely why Jacob Burns and I picked up the same thing about Wataru Kamijo coming into the side to sit there alongside Reece Yuli, because Perth are finding those little spots, and particularly now getting into little pockets and areas. They think that this is the time to shut up shop a little bit, to add an extra player. If you remember Reece Yuli, Paul Ocon, that was the combination that got them so much success at the start of the season. So possibly right now is Perth Glory's best opportunity to throw everything at this Sydney FC side.
It's been a good spell for Perth this half. Finding their way into the game. Still just a single shot on target for the team. But Wallity, a bit of tension. He's made himself ragged. Next week, Perth home to Adelaide. So a couple of home games in a row for the Glory. Away games for Sydney FC, facing the Jets next Saturday. the Jets. Home to Auckland, big one that. Melbourne City, Carter. Good football on the way. I'd love a bit of insurance, Sydney FC, in this result. Just holding on to a narrow 1-0 lead. Pat Wood might have a bit to say about that. Still has plenty of Perth defenders in front. Kispe, the arriving Garuccio. Garuccio keeps the ball with the Sky Blues.
He's just so good with his sole of his foot, Piero Kispe, and he's the player that you want right now to slow things down, control the tempo, and to get on the ball for Sydney FC. It's something they've really lacked in this second half. Yes, they haven't needed to go and score that second goal, but with the game opening up and Perth opening up, you just feel like that could be a really important time or opportunity to get Piero Kispe on the ball a little bit more often.
Free kick the way of Perth Glory. Final 15 minutes of this encounter. Ladder as it stands. And should the result remain 1-0 to Sydney FC, they will skip to the top of the ladder, jumping back over Auckland. Mentioned a little earlier in the game that the last 3 games in Perth between Sydney FC and the Glory have resulted in a draw. Perth still feel like they have a little bit about them. Looked more promising in this second half. Just need that final finishing touch. Scored just the 7 this campaign, up against Sydney FC's 14. Oh no. Might want to make amends. Inside Sutton, Lawrence looks for the little feint. Bozanovsky, who's been excellent. Great defensive header, still Bozanovsky. Now no. Centering pass, really good Lawrence. Pennington goes to ground, great chance for the Glory. There's more and more of those happening. Frustration builds.
Well, you can tell why Sydney FC have only conceded 2 goals from open play this year. There's bodies on the line, there's tackles flying in, there's a last-ditch lunges there from the big man at the back for Sydney FC. Tom Lawrence with another good look at goal. He's had quite a few tonight, but look at that, doubling up in the wide area, getting the job done defensively again.
Perth are just wondering how they haven't found a goal over Wallity on the turf again. He looks to be in a bit of discomfort.
And they have to be careful here, Grace, because if Joe Lolly is going to continue to be away, as we believe so, the next game or 2, can't lose him. Cannot simply lose him.
Well, here's a look at the challenge. That left ankle just went over as he trod on the boot of Shamoon, and those ones really hurt.
Yeah, just got stuck under his feet sliding in, and that's fatigue as well, Grace. He's not had a lot of minutes, and, you know, as much as you want him on there as an outlet, perhaps this is the time now to let him have a rest.
Joe Lolly, there was talk he might be available next weekend, but it's a bit touch and go. Was not going to be risked for a long trip to Perth. Paul O'Connor still has a few weeks. A little flashpoint here. Kispe, Pennington. Keever's quick to step in between. Tempers flaring. The order from the referee. Pennington just getting involved and having a little chat.
Well, there's no need for that for Nicholas Pennington because the referee's right there. It's not as if they're going to not add time on for this stoppage, but such is the urgency now within this Perth Glory side. It's also a good sign because the home fans are getting frustrated now. They want the game to continue. They can feel like they are getting back into the game. Momentum possibly shifting in the home side's favour.
So 10 minutes remain at HBF Park. Can Perth find an equaliser? Can Sydney hold on or extend the lead? Oh no, he's looked lively since coming on. Throw it away of the Sky Blues. Ryan Grant will take his time. More changes being ready by Ufuk Talay. Final 10 minutes of play. You'd think these would be changes just to try and consolidate the result. Tired legs out there, heavy legs. Perth still looking for a way forward. Sutton inside to Freeney. Freeney's done really well. First time cross into the box, does find its way through to Pennington. Bozanovski now. Little clip over the top. Freeney keeps it in. Deflection to Sarondas there, has been there really sound all evening yet again. Freeney growing in stature. No to Sutton. Centering ball, it falls really kindly to Lawrence, and that has got to be one of the best chances, followed up by another by Pennington. And they just can't believe they haven't found a goal.
Unbelievable. Another great opportunity for Perth Glory and for Tom Lawrence in front of goal. Pennington right at the end of the move as well. They applied the pressure. The big man even got himself forward and added an extra number. But Tisserand, the big Frenchman, again going there and making himself known that there is not going to be a goal against Sydney FC tonight. It was so close, the volley from Pennington, and they get away with another one.
Still the conversation continues. Pennington hurrying off Kispe, who is making his way over to the sideline. So Kispe departs. Alex Popovic returns to the Sydney FC side. Third appearance for the 23-year-old. And Abel Wallity also, after a big stint, a big shift, is replaced by Joel King. So a couple of defensive changes. Joel King, Alex Popovic coming onto the field of play surely to shore things up. Bit of spice towards the end of this one. Pressure perhaps on Harrison Devonish-Mears, whose clearance is over the sideline. In the second half, Perth have had the lion's share of possession. Denied Sydney FC. Just don't have the goal to show for it. Pennington squeaks that one through. A little hapless. The cross goes long and Sutton can't quite keep it in.
You don't get given things in football, but it's almost like Perth Glory deserve a goal tonight. They got themselves into some really interesting positions, and I think when they go back and look at the video, they'll be ruining those opportunities. But Sydney FC still putting on a masterclass at the back. getting it done, clearing their lines, taking their time now. They've got to try and see this one out, and I think that's why the substitutes have been made, and you can see the Sydney team sitting off.
Sitting off indeed. Ryan Grant won't mind copping that yellow card for time wasting on the throw-in. Free kick goes the way of Perth, and Toure's having a little argy-bargy with Sutton on this near touchline. In the first half that denied Perth Glory of a single shot on target. Well, it's been in the second half. Sydney have not had one of their own. Tight spaces, Tom Lawrence, what can he produce? Pumps it out to Sutton. Sutton on his right. Centering ball from Freeney. Grant is there again. Tisserol and Grant everywhere tonight for Sydney FC when called upon. Sutton needs to find a bit of space to get the cross in. Dealt with well at the back by Sydney's defence. Vision from Toure. Joel King with some early touches as we have a look at the Paramount Plus player index. Will Freeney, top of the pops, busy growing into the game. Mr. Trick Bozanovsky, excellent all night, and that's poked away. That'll be a Perth corner.
That's game on for the Perth Glory. This is their opportunity now to make something happen. And getting forward, creating moments, putting Sydney FC under more pressure. They have conceded 2 goals from corners this year, Sydney FC.
The in-swing off the boot of Sam Sutton. Big moment for the home side. His delivery, nice quality, good position, nodded away. Little shove in the back, nothing doing. Charbel Shamoun, excellent all night. His ball tempts across the face of goal. Sydney FC are asking questions. They've got a player on the ground.
I would be very interested to see if that would have resulted in a goal. Would we be looking at those 2 actions before the cross comes in? And it's the big man Grant going for the ball, winning the header, and then going out and charging down. Just copped a little trailing boot there. I don't think there's any malice in that, but what about the delivery once again from Shamoun? That looked like a foul from Suleimani, and that's what I think the Sydney FC players were asking for. But that delivery in there, somebody's got to be there in amongst it.
Alex Grant, who has been immense at the back for Sydney again tonight. Absolutely not intentional by Shamoun, who's had a great performance himself. So we're ticking inside the final 3 minutes, and it's all Perth at this stage. Momentum with the home side. Chance after chance. And that last cross was just begging for a touch, any kind of touch to steer it goalward. Alex Grant will have to leave the field of play, but looks to be okay to continue.
It's about time the players switch into lion mode. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Glory have left in this game. So it's been an energy-zapping game. Sydney FC have been professional to get the job done in this second half. And now what do they do? Do they have a plan B or C up their sleeve?
Harrison definition is, the result remains, he won't mind so much picking up a yellow card, drawing out as many seconds as he can on that goal kick. Alex Grant returns to the field of play. Game management at this point for Sydney FC. Last couple of minutes plus stoppage. Anywhere will do for Al Hassan Toure.
Lucky the microphones are turned up, but there's absolutely no shame in playing like this, because you go to Perth with the travel, with the heat, keeping a 1-0 scoreline since the 5th minute. It almost worked against them scoring so early, but they haven't had to go into Perth Glory's half and try and create as many chances. They had to conserve their energy for their defensive work, and they needed it because they knew Perth Glory were going to come onto them. The likes of Toure looks as though he's going to complete 90 minutes. It's been a long time since we've seen him do that. I think it's his first completion this year.
90 minutes and some. Plenty of stoppage time remains. Mijo going to ground. Just a slow play for Perth. Ticked over the regulation 97 minutes of stoppage time. Pennington, he too has run out 90 minutes for the first time this season. Bozanovsky, his centering pass, it's Grant again to block. Look how far forward Scott Wooden and Brian Kaltak are for Perth. Forward, bouncing around the final third. Pennington is brought to ground. The referee doesn't see anything in it.
I've seen them given. I've seen them not given. Garuccio came in at speed there to try and use the head, but the elbow was raised just to make sure. Just wonder what piece of ball he gets there. Well, Pennington got his foot there first.
Good night tonight, Ben Garuccio. Industry down that left-hand side. Some good chances in the first half. Less so the second, but that's the case of the whole Sydney FC team in the second half. They've sat back a lot more. Perth have been in much more advanced positions. On the header. Sutton. Lawrence has his pocket picked. Bozanovsky, excellent all night. Pennington. Substitutes combining. Nice touches from Note. Sends one way. Sends across the other. Clearing header. How about the footwork rather from Kono. Silky stuff. Still all with Perth. One-way traffic at the moment. Freeney. Flipped over to Sutton. Wood. Little half-baked the cross into the box, and again it was in the direction of Alex Grant. Sydney FC absorbing a lot at the moment. Sitting back in. Pennington. Wooden has numbers forward, but it's busy, congested. Stretches the field wide through Shamoon. Now Wooden. No. Good footwork. Good strength on the ball. Sutton. As Wooden finds him. Now No with a bit of space. Can exploit the space. The step overs. The left foot is blocked. The cross. And Ryan Grant alert to the danger.
Wow. Oh no, since he's come on, he turned and faced forward inside the phone box. That's how good he is with a little step overs, gets to the line, and who else was there? Ryan Grant. That back four and Devonish Mears tonight for Sydney FC. They are all on song.
Defensively have been immense. What can they do about this delivery, which is a long sweeping one? Devonish Mears pats it away, does enough. Joel King scoops the clearance to Pat Wood, who steps on the ball, and it's still with Perth Glory. Just when you think you have a little moment of relief. Shamoon. 4 minutes of stoppage time elapsed, still 3 to play. Lawrence retreating deep to pick up possession. Traversing the field, Sam Sutton's delivery, and Devonish Mears had plenty of time to read the flight of the ball.
No, it's very difficult. Once Sydney FC set and get numbers behind the ball, it's almost you've got to cross the ball inside the box, but it's not the key to breaking down Sydney FC when you've got a mountain of a goalkeeper and a back four that are just so good with their distances and their clearances. Tisserand, Grant, yet again, just being two towers.
Still Perth Glory come. Cohen-Noll up against Ryan Grant. Grant's done really well. Does enough. Sutton's there. Gets it back again. Sam Sutton, his centering ball. Dangerous, skips across the surface. Quick instruction in the Sydney FC backline. But Perth relentless. And that ball will be a welcome sight to Sydney FC.
Well, they cross again. Another entry point inside the box. Unlike Ryan Grant to get caught there. No, again, stepping forward right there. Just came across bodies. And the Perth Glory fans, if they don't go home with any points tonight, which it looks that way, they've been treated to a performance, and a performance worthy of wearing the Perth Glory shirt.
Well, late change, Bozanovsky. A really, really good performance from Reece Bozanovsky tonight as he's replaced late in the piece by Riley Fox. One minute remains of this stoppage time. Third appearance for Fox. 60 seconds to make something of this at home at HBF Park. Perth, 3 games on the trot coming into this one. 3 wins. Pennington skips past one. Freeney looks forward, but his pass finds only Toure. Now Wood searching for a corner, needing the pass and run, the industry of Ryan Grant, who will slow things down. Perth numbers around. Sutton checks his shoulder, needs an outlet pass, holds onto it a little too long. Lawrence, a workhorse tonight, Tom Lawrence. Long raking ball forward, Tisserand again, and Ryan Grant, the ground in which he's covering. The field stretched, the body is tired, and Patrick Wood, last chance saloon, top save from Matt Sutton. Stoppage time and then some. And Sutton's going on a little spray forward himself. Surely one of the last kicks of the game. Sutton, long, searching ball. Charbel Shamoon can't quite get there. Last chance for Perth Glory. Nick Pennington falls to his feet. Can he find the strike? Surrounded by Sydney FC players. The answer is no. Sutton. Almost 98 minutes played. Sam Sutton. One last roll of the dice. Pennington. Poked away. 98 minutes. Well, Sydney back on top of the A-League ladder. It has been a defensive masterclass from the Sky Blues, who make it 9 consecutive games undefeated against Perth Glory. It is a very big 3 points for Ufuk Talay in the first of 2 away games. And given the last few times the Sky Blues have visited Perth, it's ended in a draw. This win carries a lot of weight tonight. It also brings to an end the 3-game winning streak Perth found themselves in. And it's a statement piece from the now league leaders in Sydney FC. A lone goal in the 5th minute of the first half sees us full-time at HBF Park. Perth Glory 0, Sydney FC 1. Well, catch your breath after that one, because that second half, through and through, Perth Glory peppered the sky blue defence. Abawalati, of course, the difference maker on the night. 3 points. Al Hassan Toure busy and Ryan Grant. An incredible shift. Sky blue 3-2-1. But Perth was a pretty valiant effort, you've got to say, in the end. So Abawalati with a player of the match performance in what was ultimately the difference maker tonight.
Yeah, he was top draw coming in for Joe Lolly, scored that early goal, but it was just about his movement and getting himself forward and allowing Sydney FC to get up the park, really. And they needed that outlet player. They wanted him to go and perform tonight, and he put in a great shift for the Sky Blues.
Well, let's get some instant reaction with Jacob Burns.
Abel, Ninja player of the match. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, it was an opportunity, so I had to take it, and you know, I was glad I could contribute on getting the 3 points today. That was the most important thing for me today. Come here, winning the game. Yeah. So, yeah.
Talk me through. Obviously, one of the big players, Joe Lolly, is out. Big shoes to fill, but I thought today you were so impressive. Every time you got the ball,